Sometimes we want to make our data in a spreadsheet more visual, but not necessarily generate a whole big chart to replace the data. And sparklines are a great way to add a kind of mini chart to a single cell on your spreadsheet without obstructing any data. So let's take a look at how that might work here. When I've got my data up here, I'm going to go ahead and add a sparkline into this last column. And sparklines are a formula. So I can say equal sparkline. You see it starts to pop up, alright, and it even tells me miniature chart within a single cell. So I'm going to open the bracket, see what it tells me. First thing it wants to know is my data. Well, I'm going to do it based on this average column here that I've calculated. So I'm going to click there, add a comma. And now it asks me about options, and there's a whole pile of little options that you can tweak. You can come down here to click Learn More, and you'll see a Google support page that lists all the different options that you can do. But I'm going to create a little bar chart here. So I'm going to show you the simplest version first, and it kind of follows the example that's sitting there. I'm going to go open bracket, or actually squiggly bracket to be specific. Quote, chart type, quote, comma, and then inside comes again, it's going to be a bar chart, so I type bar, semicolon. The maximum for these, unlike the sample, is going to be 100, since I'm marking this out of 100. But I'm not actually going to stop right here. I want to specify some colors. So, actually, I'll show you what does happen if I stop right here. Go ahead and close that up, hit enter, and I get a little bar chart. But as I drag it down, you can see how the bar is representative of the numbers that we see in this column, and they're going to adjust as they see it. But again, I want to add some colors to this. So instead, at the end of the line here, what I'm going to do inside of that little squiggly bracket where I'm still adjusting some of these options, I'm going to throw in a little semicolon, and I'm going to specify what color 1 is. And I do need to spell this without the U. It's American software, and we aren't able to adjust that little spelling change. So color without a U, and color 1 is what I'm specifying. So comma, and you can actually do this with just text, basically. But since I want to actually specify colors based on an if statement, I'm going to say if, in this case, I2, which is the cell I'm looking at. If I2 is, let's see, less than, let's say, 75 right now, then I want you to be red. Otherwise, be green. And close that bracket for the if statement, enter. Now when I click it and I drag that down, I've got reds if it's below 75, and I've got the greens if it's above 75. Alright, well, if statements, if you've never used an if statement, I'm just going to click right into the if here. You'll see that it can have basically a value if it's true and a value if it's false. So basic if formula has two potential outcomes. Now you can start nesting different outcomes into the false and throw another if statement and another if statement, but there's an easier way. I'm going to click into this, and instead of if, I'm going to use if s. And it says returns a value depending on multiple logical expressions. This actually allows me to do that sort of nested type option without actually having to type so many of them. So I'm going to back this off and say 60. Anything under 60 is going to be red. Then I'm going to throw in another little condition here. And I'm going to say, all right, I want if I2 less than, we'll say, 80 is going to be green, or better yet, I'll go black. Black. There we go, just to separate these a bit. Comma. I2 is, let's see, less than or equal to 100. So that'll grab that upper range, and it's going to be green. Enter. Grab that, drag it down, and now we should have 3 colors working. So this is going to help highlight exactly where the kids are at, where the averages are at. I can very quickly get this nice little visual chart, and I'm going to be able to use that to sort of visualize my data as I go. So that is a nice little formula that you can use, and I will include the formula in the description for the video, as well as the document that is linked here.